Thursday, the Senate voted to approve a bill that proposes an increment in the salary, allowances, and benefits of judicial officers in the country. As part of this legislation, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, and the Supreme Court justices will receive an annual salary of 62.4 and 61.4 million naira respectively. This decision was made as part of the Senate legislative process, and it aims to adjust the compensation package for judicial officers.
My name is Isa Manzuma, former chairman, Nigerian Bar Association, Ilorin branch, and a member of the National Executive Committee of Nigerian Bar Association. And what we will be clamoring for is the implementation of judicial autonomy granted by the 1999 Constitution. Judicial autonomy transcends increment on the salaries of judges. It also includes the provision of infrastructure and good working environment for the justices of the Supreme Court. I think last year or two, one of the judges of the Supreme Court retired and forgotten, and they lamented the condition of service of the justices of the Supreme Court. And in fact, the comment or the lamentation was quite embarrassing to the country's judicial system, especially at the level of the Supreme Court. So this recent increment in the salaries of justices of the Supreme Court and the Chief Justice of Nigeria is a welcome development, in the sense that it is going to attract the best hands to the system. You know, in those days, justices of the Supreme Court were appointed even from the bar to the Supreme Court. I remember late Justice Nnamani was appointed from the bar to the Supreme Court, and the industry on the bench was so high. So I think if we also revert to the same system now with this increment in salary and the improvement on the condition of service of justices, it is going to translate to high productivity on the industry at the level of the Supreme Court. So we expect more commitment and dedication from the justices to the delivery of justice at the level of the Supreme Court. Hitherto we have a situation where appeals from the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court are pending for almost 15-20 years. There was an appeal. One of the lecturer at University of Ilorin was wrongly dismissed from service, and appeal. The case traveled from the High Court to the Supreme Court for over 20 years. After they had even gotten another appointment and retired as a vice chancellor of a private university. This is a primitive. That kind of system, I think, is not good for the country that practices democracy, because the entire system of democracy is predicated on efficient and effective judicial system. So we pray that, we hope that this will translate to an efficient and effective judicial system, and justice delivery.
Well, I think this increment, it's long overdue, because you can't have an independent, incorruptible judiciary without the proper motivation. Judiciary of Nigeria, just like any other country around the world, deserves to be treated properly. Their welfare should be taken care of. That will in a long way impact on their output. That will also make them immune against corruption, because when you know that probably all what you need is being taken care of. There is little or no amount of influence. There can hardly be any influence on what will be your decision in various cases. So the decision to approve the increments for judicial staff, judicial officers, is very commendable one, and it will have a lot of impact in our judicial system. And may I also say that the same thing be extended to judiciary staff. Judicial officers are different from judiciary staffs. The same thing should be extended to them so that they will all feel, that means they are supporting staff and all that, they will all feel very confident working, knowing that their welfare is fully guaranteed and taken care of. That's my take. My name is Ridwan Musa, Publicity Secretary, MBA Learning.
My name is Barrister Akorede, a one-time welfare secretary for young lawyers for Ilorin Bar Association, Nigeria Bar Association Ilorin branch. Looking at the increments in respect of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, as well as the Justices of the Supreme Court, I think it is commendable. It's commendable looking at the task of the office. I think it's a laudable development, because when we are talking of justice, the person to whom we saddle the responsibility must be well-grounded in such a way that it will not be expecting any external force or anything that may probably keep him busy or not to do whatever that is reasonable to a reasonable man or to a common man. What I'm trying to say in essence is, when we are talking about justice, everything, they must be comfortable. So once they are comfortable, I think it lies on society to now ask if they now do otherwise. So I think it is a very laudable development going by the increments of Chief Justice of the Federation, Chief of Nigeria, as well as the Justices of Supreme Court. That is the apex court in Nigeria, and whatever they say, that's the way it will be final. So the office will saddle the responsibility to determine the final of any particular litigation or cases or case. I think they must be comfortable. So having done that, we will now be expecting justice for that we start justice to all and sundry. A common man in the society. My name is Barrister Akorede, a one-time welfare secretary for young lawyers.
I am Dr. Folarunsho Ahmad Hussein. I am the chairman Muslim Lawyers Association of Nigeria, Kwara State branch. Thank you very much. Hearing this gives me a lot of joy. It is a good development to me, because I have over the years been an advocate of a good welfare package for judges. We are talking of corruption in the judiciary everywhere. The sole cause for that is lack of good welfare package for judges across the country. No amount of money is enough or too much for judges to be given, considering the nature of their job. For example, when we started practice here in Ilorin, I've experienced magistrates mounting the back of Okada here in Kwara State then. And since then, I have made it a duty upon myself advocating for the welfare of judges. Considering what other people take within the system in Nigeria, then what stops the judges from having good pay that will give them comfort to do their job without fear or favor or any form of influence from anywhere? Considering what the academics take too, it is ridiculous as well. So having this kind of package for judges in Nigeria, I think it's a very good starting point for the judiciary. If the same will be extended to state judiciary and the lower benches of the Nigerian courts, it will be very, very good, and it will have very good impact on the judicial system and the output of judges in Nigeria. My name once again is Dr. Folarunsho Ahmad Hussein, the Chairman Muslim Lawyers Association of Nigeria, Kwara State Branch.
Well, thank you for having me. If you look at the figures, you discover that that's just about 5 million naira per month. 60-something million naira per year. And that's a complete package, all inclusive. Well, let me say first and foremost that it is a right step in the right direction. It is long overdue because the office of a judge, especially that of the High Court and above, is a very special office. In fact, to be a judge, you need to be ready to surrender part of your freedom, which is fundamental. A lot of restrictions are involved. Then, a judge does not have working hour. Officially, it may be, say, 9 to 4, but thereafter, it continues with his work. So it's a very laborious and more or less a hard task. That's the nature of the work of a judge. So you don't expect anything than good conditions of service in terms of remuneration for a judge. Sometimes he has to wake up in the night to write judgment in the dead of the night, midnight, because most things we do in law and in the administration of justice are time-bound. For example, apart from election petition and other matters like pre-election matters, these ones are specifically provided in the Constitution, they are time-bound. You then have some other areas. If a judge reserves judgment today, he must deliver that judgment within 3 months. And you can imagine some of these cases where you call, say, 10 witnesses. The other side call 10. You file your addresses, you do this. The judge has to look at everything. So you discover that at the end of the day, a judge does not rest. And that's why you have most of our judges either suffering from one ailment or the other, especially hypertension, arising from stress of the nature of God. So what the president and the National Assembly, or do I say Nigeria has done, is not a favor to our judges and justices, because it also extends to the High Court. So it's not a favor, it is what is long overdue. But it will impact, there's no doubt about that, in terms of funds that will be available to our judges to take care of their health. Apart from these payments, which I think is just, for me, it's just a token, you need to work on other areas that I've mentioned. The courtroom environment, the recording system, the supporting staff. That is the only way you can now be talking of independence of judiciary. And more especially, the judiciary should control directly its own force. You don't need to go to president, as at the federal level. You don't need to go to the governor before you can get your money. It is then you can talk of independence of judiciary. So what I'm saying next is that this increase in payment is just a minute aspect of what needs to be done to guarantee independence of judiciary and make the work environment friendly for judges and lawyers. My name is Salman Jawondo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. I'm the immediate past Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Kwara State.
Well, lawyers have spoken, opinions have been aired, and the motive is well supported. Let's see how this development would enhance the judicial system in years to come. My name is Sakina Abdulatif, National Pilot TVC.